Good morning from Lagos, Nigeria. A very warm welcome to you. I'm Felicity Ezewike, and I'm super glad that you're letting us share your morning. Thank you for the honor. We are at a critical juncture with the health of our environment. A few days ago, June 5th to be precise, we commemorated World Environment Day, our yearly reminder of the urgent need to do more to protect our planet. The statistics are alarming. Nearly 46 million people were displaced due to environmental disasters just last year. Ecosystems have been harmed and continue to be harmed, and water sources are blocked and contaminated. The numbers are already rising here in Nigeria. Yesterday, our conversation on the plight of victims in Mokwa community, Niger State, after devastating floods was not just troubling, but highlights the growing threats to our planet. We all see the effects of environmental degradation in our communities. We see the impact of plastic pollutions on our rivers, our wildlife, and our health. And we know that we must act. We are, but I state here, as most environmentalists have been doing, it is not enough. On Friday in Kano, a devastating fire destroyed millions in the mobile phone market, leaving many individuals and businesses reeling. The sad thing is, this is not the first time, nor will it be the last. It will happen again. And no, I'm not being an alarmist. I'm looking at the data, and it says we rarely learn from our mistakes. Yes, it is a tragedy, but if we listen better, it highlights the need for more strategic preparedness to mitigate losses. The age-long tradition and conversation, not tradition, I beg your pardon, the age-long conversation on human trafficking seems never too far off. News Centre's Israel Efferable brought us the story of a young girl trafficked and forced into prostitution at 15. Only now being rescued 5 years after. While what the Edo State government and its efforts on this is commendable, it is one more in many recent cases. Again, still not enough. We definitely need stronger vigilance and stricter enforcement of our laws to protect our most vulnerable citizens. Now, the common thread running through these issues is the need for urgent action and collective responsibility. We must work together to protect our environment, support those affected by disasters and human trafficking, while prioritizing our health and well-being. As always, Judith is present this morning. We did this yesterday, but she is your regular anchor for this show, and she's here with me this morning. Good morning, Judith.
Good morning to you. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great, actually. Feel extra stoked to be doing this again with you. What's your thoughts on this year's theme for World Environment Day?
I think that it starts with the corporate, with the corporate world itself. I think it starts with capitalism. I think that we can get rid of plastics if all the big corporations do the right thing, which is eliminate plastics in production, do more when it comes to recycle, and also be very transparent about what they're putting in the plastics.
Yeah, true.
I don't think the consumers are the problem. I think it's a corporation.
I don't think that as well. The Lagos State government did try to phase out some of these plastics, but I noticed recently that the supermarkets are going back to status quo. Let's see what happens with
because we can't do anything about it. It starts from the top. You know, you eliminate alternatives and then you make us say and you ban it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't give us alternatives. You know. We
are talking about that much later on the program this morning. Again, thank you for letting us share your morning, and welcome to Breakfast Extra.
A very good morning to you and welcome to your favorite weekend breakfast show, and that is Breakfast Extra for a Sunday edition. It's where every story is fresh, every conversation matters, and every Sunday morning starts with a dose of depth, color, and this time it's going to be culture. So here's what we have lined up for you today. We begin on a powerful note of rescue and resilience with the story of a young Nigerian girl that was trafficked to Burkina Faso and now finally reunited with her family thanks to the efforts of the Edo State government. Our correspondent Israel Ferobo brings us that emotional story later on the program. And then we'll shift our gears to World Brain Tumour Day, raising awareness and pushing for early detection. And Dr. Yusuf Harun, who is the founder of Love for Health organization, will join us to talk about the science, the stigma, and the power of education in saving lives. And then on Big Report, which we're going to get into in just about a bit, we're going to be marking World Environment Day with a global call to end plastic pollution. Our correspondent, Bettina Onweli, will share firsthand a report with us, and will be joined here in the studio by an environmentalist and a climate expert to break it all down for us into minute bites. And then we head off to Kano, where tragedy struck on what should have been a festive day as fire gutted the city's popular GSM Market. We head to the scene to get the latest from our reporter, Emmanuel Bagudu, and we ask the very important question: how can we prevent these recurring disasters? From policy to partnership, we hear from FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who is urging citizens to unite with government in the pursuit of progress. We explore this on our big story with our Abuja Bureau Chief, and that is Amadin Uyi. And finally, we get ready for colors, culture, and cavalry of the legendary Ojude Oba Festival. And our correspondent Igbalani Omoni is live from Ijebu-Ode, soaking in the sights and sounds of one of Nigeria's most vibrant cultural parades. And we're going to bring a little bit of that on here on Breakfast Extra. So you don't want to miss it all. It's the stories that inspire, inform, and connect us all right here on your weekend breakfast show, Breakfast Extra. As always, let's get started. Felicity, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm looking forward to our conversations.
I'm looking forward to Ojude Oba. I don't even know everybody else. I'm looking forward to...
I know you don't mean that. I know you don't mean that.
You don't know, but seriously. You know how, something becomes successful, right? And then after it becomes successful with all the viral videos and viral things, I can only imagine what it will be like this morning for everyone who's participating. I'm sure they want to pull up and show out.
Yeah, well, we're hoping for a viral moment.
We're hoping for a viral moment, just in case they become an overnight celebrity like our very own Farouk Oriagba. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see it all.
All right, I guess we're going on a quick break. We will start the conversation with World Environment Day. Stay with us. Thanks for being here. This week, the world marked World Environment Day, and the spotlight is firmly on one of the most pressing environmental threats of our time: plastic pollution. With the theme ending plastic pollution globally, this year's campaign is a wake-up call to government, corporations, and individuals alike to take urgent and meaningful action to reduce the harmful impact of plastic waste on our planet. From our waterways to our food systems, plastic is everywhere. But so too is the momentum for change. Our correspondent Bettina Onweli takes us through the key messages and urgent call to action from experts and advocates.
We'll try to bring you that report.
We don't have that report at the moment, but we do have our guests with us in the studio.
Oh, yes, indeed. We're going to be joined by two guests. The very first is an environmentalist, and also we do have a climate resilient guest as well. So that's Deji
Akintelu and David Omobomi. Did I get that?
Omaomi.
Is it Omaomi?
Yeah.
That's what I had here. Okay, thank you very much
for
joining us. All right, I think we have the package from our colleague, Bettina Onweli. Let's take it, and then we'll come to our guests in the studio.
Every year on the 5th of June, World Environment Day is observed globally.
But here the challenges remain. Plastic cans and plastic bags litter the environment right behind me for as far as the eyes can see.
The theme for this year's World Environment Day is ending plastic pollution globally. With the Republic of Korea serving as the host country, there has been emphasis on the urgent need to address plastic pollution, which continues to threaten ecosystems and human health worldwide.
The environment is a continuum. The boundary between Nigeria and Ghana, for example, could be physical, but the environmental boundaries are not physical. So whatever is happening here in Lagos, Nigeria, can be of impact in Ghana, Togo, and our neighbors. So there is need for a regional approach to it.
Environmental scientists warn that over 40% of the world's ecosystems are under severe stress, while experts add that with coordinated action, natural systems can recover, offering protection against climate change.
Ban on styrofoam, single-use plastics are shining examples of what government can do. However, other things that need to be done include governments being more conscious of the lobbyist activities of plastic producers and manufacturers. It's important that governments becomes conscious that when they get supported by plastic manufacturers, they may be form of inducements, or they may be form of incapacitating governments not to take policies that can, quote and unquote, put them under business challenges.
The Nigerian government is also taking steps to combat plastic pollution through policies aimed at reducing plastic waste and promoting recycling. However, experts say more needs to be done to achieve lasting change.
We can embark of a massive, planting of trees, because we know the values that are associated with trees. They attract what we call microclimate. If you have trees in an area, you will see that even the precipitation, the amount of rainfall, that the area will receive is actually, in most cases, is higher than where they don't have trees.
As World Environment Day reminds us, the environment isn't just a global issue, it is local responsibility. So whether you're just picking up plastics from the ground or pushing for policy change, every action counts. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
And many thanks to Bettina and Willie for that report. And now joining us live in the studio, we have with us Deji Akinpelu. He's an environmentalist and policy advocate. Also joining us is David Omaomi. He is a climate resilience expert, and they both will be giving us an insight to commemorate what we're discussing today. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us. We appreciate you for coming on. Now, we have seen Bettina's report there, but I want to start with you, Deji. We've heard the warnings for years regarding plastics and just what the plastic pollution will mean for the human race, but it still persists. I'm of the opinion and the theory that corporations have not done their fair share when it comes to taking the burden. Why does it persist?
Okay, so why does it persist? Maybe there's a politics around plastic, so like you rightly mentioned, corporations doing their own part is very, very important. So the framework that has been laid in terms of policy is that plastic producers ought to have producer responsibility organizations called PRO. And in Nigeria, we have a PRO for the plastic corporations. So what is expected is that those corporations join this association and they make financial contribution towards the recall of plastics. While we may not be able to achieve an immediate ban, it is very, very important that these organizations come together under a group and then they begin to call back, be responsible for the end of life of the plastic that they produce, which is called the extended producer responsibility. Now, where does government come in? You need to put in place the necessary policy that compels this group of people to engage in the recall of the plastics that they produce. Now, the question is, do we have that policy? Do we have a legislated framework that compels these corporations, one, to first of all join the association, Secondly, to make the necessary mandatory contribution. Thirdly, to meet their targets. So NESRA, which is the federal body that is responsible for this, as far as I'm concerned, as much as I know, there's no serious policy implementation. What we still do is just to come
every
together.
COP23, every COP28.
Yeah, and have a party with these corporations, you know. So it's the big question. And in a city like Lagos, when you say, oh, we are banning single-use plastics, and the big elements of this plastic, which is PET bottles, sachet water, we are saying, no, we are not banning. So what exactly are we doing? The Lagos plastic policy, for instance, has been in formulation for years, for up to 3 to 4 years. And then what we are hearing now is, oh, you are trying to implement. But the big item, the PET bottle, who is legislating that it is compulsory for the makers of these bottles to join their producer responsibility organization and to begin to pay for the recall of these items?
Are they not currently?
So it is voluntary. So they do it at will. So you hear of beach cleanups, you hear of the PRO is...
Does that mean we don't have like a law or policy around that?
We don't have any legislated policy that compels you as a as a plastic producer to join a PRO. You don't have to join. You can, plastic producers can come, 3 of them can come and form one, another set can form another one.
Interesting.
You understand? But but we have to legislate it. So what you have is, I don't want to say cosmetic because I don't want to a bit offend them, because on the side of the producers, I think they are aware that there's something called extended producer responsibility. But the producers will tell you today that, why do you expect me to be, to give you reports, for instance, of what we've collected? There's no law mandating me to make it public. But that's what it's supposed to be. Oh, we produced 10 million bottles this year. We've called back 500K or something.
I mean, you're just trying to be polite there. It is what it is. If it is cosmetic, it is cosmetic, because we still have this situation. But let's bring in David and just talk about Lagos is a unique place for many reasons. You know, we take things a little different. I mean, I've not heard in other parts of Nigeria where we have at least the efforts to stop the use of plastic and all of that. What's your assessment of the current state of the, you know, how plastic is impacting our environment here in Nigeria and the efforts to mitigate it and recall some of them?
Okay, so the plastic menace is now becoming more alarming than we've always thought it was, particularly as research showing plastics in the clogged arteries of brain stroke patients these days. So it's now becoming more a menace than, you know, just its impact on the environment. Lagos is a shining example, I must say, with respect to leading the charge in policy formulation, at least better off than the federal government and better off than many other states. However, one of the high points, like DJ had mentioned about the extended producer responsibility, would be a production, altering production to make plastics have a biodegradable component. So I would want to look at 2 parts of it. One would be production change, where plastic manufacturers need to start considering the plastics degrading themselves by altering the composition, I bet at a bit more cost. The use of biodegradable components will help reduce the waste life of plastics. So they could naturally just degrade rather than being out there in the environment for decades. Secondly, would be to drive more policy around monetization of the recalling. So it's one thing for the producer to not or to voluntarily join an association. It's another thing for the society to feel incentivized. So if we're having issues with, you know, compelling producers to join the association or commit to reporting their recollection efforts, it would help if, you know, government concentrates on revenue from recollection activities. Right. By being able to put a fee, say for every PET bottle, there is a 10 naira or 5 naira or 50 kobo or 50.
But I think that's already in operation at the moment. You see people collecting it and selling it?
Yeah, it's private sector led.
Yeah.
So it's private sector led.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's still private sector led, NGO led, voluntary, and most of the plastic producers, for lack of a better word, tend to use this type of opportunities to greenwash their activities. Less than 10% of the amount of plastics being manufactured is being recalled. So regardless of how much funfair is around this type of celebrations, beach cleanups, activities, right? The amount of plastic that is still left requires either manufacturing change, production change, banning use of plastics in the current form. So enforcing biodegradable components during production of plastics.
Right.
So a large percentage can degrade on their own.
No.
And then two is incentivizing the recollection by government. Like they had mentioned, what is existing now is private and NGO sector led. If government enforces it, the waste to wealth part of plastic recollection now becomes very vibrant, and the hunger in the land can even be reduced, because when people can see wealth in plastics, I think with the hunger in the land, so to say, plastics will disappear.
Now, so from what I ascertain from the both of you, it's very clear that this is just lip service when it comes to the corporate world itself, and that there's not enough accountability or transparency, or one would say holding them, right? So I want to ask you, Deji, you are the one who raised this. How then can we hold them accountable? How then can we see real change? Because you just outlined all of the changes that could happen, right? From using biodegradable products to, incentivizing it by the government, and also to recall, if not more, 90% of those plastics back. But with all of this, these are already available. These are things that they're talking about in these conferences. Those are things that they've been calling for yourselves and other NGOs. How can we enforce that real change?
Enforcement is, first of all, through legislation. So the picture we've been trying to paint here is that everybody, you do what you want to do. The producer does what he wants to do. The association do what they, but there is no law compelling them. The PROs, one of the PROs is opening two centers, two recyclable collection points across the city. If tomorrow morning they wake up tomorrow morning and they say they are no longer doing, there's no law, there's nobody compelling them. So in the extended producer responsibility plan, you will always have to give them a target annually to say, okay, this year you're collecting 5%, next year you're collecting 10%. So you begin to make progress. So what we're doing becomes measurable. What we're doing right now is not in any way measurable. You cannot hold anybody to say you must do this. So in terms of design, which product, there was one plastic producer who changed color just to meet the market, what will work better in the market for recycling. So where it lies is the fact that you don't have the legal framework that compels these people to do what they need to do. Banning is not the first step, which I've seen government try to do, particularly in the city of Lagos. It's not always for you to, first of all, get to a point and say, effective July 1st, we are banning.
And then you don't provide alternatives, which is what's killing me,
so
right?
the process.
Right,
so like you mentioned, redesign your product to become biodegradable materials. However, they can't start tomorrow.
Right.
But there's something that we can start tomorrow, which is to say in the next 365 days, we are compelling you to, when we talk about pricing, for instance, so for a very, very long time, the prices of plastic in the city of Lagos, for instance, goes up and down. Somebody sits down somewhere in the morning and decides and say, okay, this is how much. Fair plastic pricing is one of the advocacy where government needs to come in. The private sector, they are doing what they need to, they are doing their business, but how will government intervene to say, okay, make sure the value of what people are, when you are recycling, is the right value that you are getting. So these are some of the things that you need to put in place. It's the ideology and the thinking about banning is not it. Look, their framework. Lagos has a plastic policy in draft that sets all this framework, but you take one item, which is probably like supposed to be the last action.
And then you take it as first, you know, misplaced priorities.
You are not setting the targets, the tone right. Let them pay for whatever they are contributing right now. Let people get value for it. Take, for instance, tires. Tires in the city of Lagos, you find out that you may find it very difficult just to see tires lying around because it has become an item of value. Immediately waste becomes an item of value, you see people grab it.
Right, so urban miners. But the thing about legislation, one thing, is also enforcement. Is that enforcement, and Africa itself, I mean, if you go to the first world, they don't have an issue with enforcement, but here enforcement is a big problem, right? But earlier you raised something very important, David, and that was not just the climate part of it, but the health concerns and what we're seeing and the trends, you know, with the spike of health issues that are caused by plastics, microplastics. But I want to focus on climate resilience and how important it is, right? The plastics are clogging our waterways, they're clogging our gullies and gutters. Should the environmental sanitation be brought back in all of the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory?
I think that the environmental sanitation should be brought back.
Will it do anything?
It will go a long way, you know.
Yeah, because in Lagos that time in the 90s, when you pack the thing and you put it out, rain will come and push it back inside.
Even now, even now, they will do a good job, and then in a couple, it will sit there for days, and then before you know it, it washes back
inside.
So I think I would want to first loop into what Deji had said earlier on. In an economy or in an environment like this, I would want to support the ban first. We need to first outlaw these things. You know, there's been a lot of conferences, workshops, talk shops, annual celebrations, stakeholder meetings, and if government doesn't start by banning it, it may be the last. You may need to create a lot of changes, but we kind of in Africa tend to, would I say, react from the back. So I think banning it is a shining example as to where government should be starting from, so that producers, people, individuals, small businesses understand that this is an illegal activity. Okay. You know, we've seen reports of businesses going to dump waste on the roadsides. We have residents living in highbrow neighborhoods putting waste in their boots and then dumping it right on the highway. So I don't know, we have a mental issue.
Yeah, I mean, we know our problem. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. So let me come in a bit. So in terms of banning, why can't we ban PET bottles and sachet water? Why are they becoming an exemption?
Thank you.
Now,
it's capitalism.
You can't ban sachet water because of your own failure as a government.
Without being able to provide clean water.
Clean water. It's a phenomenon that grew over time.
Right.
You understand? It's not even practicable. You can ban straws. You can tell people bring your bags,
to shopping malls.
You can do all that. So, but what I'm trying to say is, what are you doing about the composition of plastic, PET bottles, sachet water? They are the real, not straws, are the minute part of it.
Okay, let's explore that conversation, because we're looking at solution long term. Yes, we have the temporary ones, you know, ban it, do this, but you said something that I really want you to expand on. Altering the composition of plastics. Is this something that is practicable and doable in Nigeria across board? Because most of the things we're talking about is only very rampant in Lagos. You know, you have take your bag. I don't hear it from other states. You know, so across board, will this be something practicable?
Can I just say something very quickly while you ruminate on that question? It's the fact that it's plastics. You're sitting down here. Your phone pouch is plastic. The biro is plastic. Your glasses, the frame is plastic, right? And so plastic has now been integrated in our everyday life, that we seem to forget that it's not just the PET bottles and the pure water and the plastic bags that we use to carry our groceries, but it's also the pill bottles that has you know, you're this thing. It's also the inhaler, the cartridge.
Yeah, but we
of
have to
inhaler.
start
You know,
somewhere.
it's also the makeup, you know, and your makeup case. It's a lot, right? And so it's so much integrated into our lives that how can that altering the composition of the plastics can integrate in every of those sectors?
Okay, I'll shoot on two fronts. First is production modifications. There is no two-way about it. And research, there is abundant research that has shown that plastics can degrade, or packaging solutions can be made with part biodegradable elements that help them break down rather than just sit over in our oceans and our drains for hundreds of years. So government's biggest win could come from enforcing, including in the legislation, production modifications, being intentional about the composition of materials used in plastics. It's far cheaper to create plastics that live longer. Very ironic, right? And then this research that is now available, it just makes common sense that we do as much as we can to change whatever we have on the table. That's the first fix we can start with. And then secondly is the integration of plastics into our lifestyles. You know, the plastic menace was as recent as the 1950s. And I think advertising, I think marketing, I think guys like you need to consider. No, when I mean guys like you, I'm talking about the media needs to consider the labeling options against plastics. Right. Just like you have on cigarette packs, this will kill you. Just like you have, you know, enforcing certain type of labeling, we need to begin to, will I use the word, shame plastics or make people more aware, because we seem to have forgotten, you know, what plastics really are. Plastic is now branded as lifestyle. Yeah. It's now branded as part of being human.
Your smartwatches.
Your bags, your everything.
Yeah, so
we
just
seem
like
to forget
yesterday we were talking about something, and I'm one for environmental health, but we're talking about something, and Judith, you mentioned let's ban the internet.
Like delete the internet.
That's a dream. And I'm being a realist here. It will be impossible to eradicate it completely.
Correct.
That is my view.
Yeah.
But there are things we can do to minimize the impact, and you've suggested one that I really think, you know, deserves some attention. But there's something else you said, and legislate. What would a legislation on environment, not just on pollutants like plastic, but legislation for our environment here in Nigeria that will be not just paperwork, but something we can use?
Yeah. So legislation doesn't solve the problem entirely.
I know it's, but let's have the laws. Do we have
first
them?
of all, even have the law, then I can make my demand. So as an advocate, I can't harass the PRO and say, give me your callback report. Well, your target was 5% for this year. The PROs look at you and say, what are you saying? There's no law compelling me. You have no right. I have sent my report to NESRA. I don't care. It was later on the PRO, out of being nice, decided to start publishing their reports. You get, so the legislation gives you what to ride on. As of today, everybody is free to do whatever they want to do. And legislation will also help us begin to source for the right funding to strengthen the ecosystem, particularly the informal workers, for instance. These guys who go on the street who are picking up plastic here and there.
My favorites, the urban miners. The
urban miners. Rather than stigmatizing them, and of course in Lagos now you find the phenomenon of under the bridge, you see some people packing plastic. Clusters there. Then the next thing you see government do is that though they are not supposed to be there, you push them out. You are destroying that system. You are not putting the necessary structure that needs to enable the informal. So when we talk about this plastic waste, and you've not spoken about the informal guys and strengthening them, that's what the legislation would do. Compel them to make the finances that is needed available to strengthen that network of group of people who are doing so much in collection while we work towards an eventual banning.
Right. I hate to cut you, right? But
no problem.
The urban miners, in my view, is an indication of what's wrong with the third world or developing countries, which is, you know, the poverty line, but most importantly, our recycling culture. Right, and our waste management culture, as individuals and as communities. Are we ever going to get to a point where we see in Asia, and Southeast Asia, like Japan and China and Korea, where individuals and homes and communities are actually recycling the right way? They are sorting out their waste, and offices, and corporate companies, they're sorting out their waste, paper, plastic, bottle, and, human fecal matter. And they're separated in a way where we don't need the urban miners, and if the urban miners have to work, it wouldn't be on the roads, it would be at the dump site.
At the dump site or at the collection point.
At the collection point.
Or they become collectors.
And they become collectors with
has
the
to
uniform, and there's like a proper
immediately you put the right value to an end-of-life product, and people know that if you go to, everybody keeps saying Lagos, you go outside Lagos, you're having a party. Before you know it, somebody just comes and grabs your plastic bottle.
Facts.
Have you seen that?
Facts.
Have you seen house helps at home? The way you're using they are packing.
No, when the cleaner comes around.
Girl,
it
breaks my heart that's what she does. A little girl, you see her with a uniform each time. So now I collect my bottles and wait for her just to give it to her, and she's so appreciative.
My cleaner is that one.
So immediately you begin to let people know that there are so many electronic products that people have now that are broken in their homes.
And there are people who cut away with it, and
so people don't want to even dispose it because the right value they're not going to get for it. Right. So you just put it.
But what about the individuals in terms of sorting this plastic? Because we're out of time.
Yeah, immediately individuals know that they're going to get good value for what they are trying to sort out. Or we get to a point whereby your food waste, which makes even 50%, is of value. It is the value. That's why I kept on saying that fair pricing system is something that government needs to look at in the immediate. Let us compel the producers to bring back this product at the right price.
Are we going to get white bin, red bin, green bin in workplaces?
We've tried to do that in the city of Lagos, and I'm studying that it has not worked.
Is that why? That's what I'm saying.
Well, because we have our own culture, our own way. Take, for instance, now what happens these days is that the PSP truck comes into your community, and those guys who come to pick, right from your bin, they are the ones doing the sorting. Because when they get to the dump site, they are able to just quickly they've sorted it out from your homes as they were packing it, and they get the money for it. So on households, immediately they begin to know that if I sort this thing and these guys come, and I'm giving it to them at a value. So people are we are paying to pick up our waste, whereas somebody should be paying to come and collect my
I need David to speak a bit. I know we're out of time, but I just like your thoughts on, we've talked about legislation, and we've talked about altering, and of course, we talked about bringing back sanitation, but are there other solutions, or is there a working initiative in Nigeria that could be replicated, like what Lagos is doing with the plastic? Take your stuff, take your own bag to the supermarket, to collect your stuff. Is that something that, we could do across board? So
awareness is also a big problem. You see people going to eateries, getting superstores, and getting 5 packs, single-use plastics for 5 different items.
I cannot mix my goosey and
I most times freak out in trying to explain to the waiter, that you can't give me 1 nylon for my toothbrush, 1 nylon for my brush, 1 nylon for the toothpaste.
Yeah, but I bought jig now.
And the reaction they give to me is, you are 1 out of a lot of a million, because we have educated people who come here and scream at us. So awareness is a big problem. Curriculum, infusing environmental responsibility into curriculum from little ages is very important. Social education systems, the sanitation, compulsory sanitation, and more importantly now, better enforcement of laws. Because we've always had all the laws, but the problem is enforcement. So now that Lagos has started banning, it's important that other states look at regional activity, because the environment is a continuum. And most of the waste that gets out into the ocean are from land-based sources. So the plastic you see in Lagos are not necessarily always generated in Lagos. They've come all the way from Kogi, Lokoja, and all parts of Nigeria. So regional activity or action is better.
Hey, welcome back. Let's head to Kano, shall we, where what should have been a festive Sallah celebration turned into a devastating tragedy. On Eid Day, a massive fire swept through the Farm Centre GSM Market, one of the busiest mobile phone hubs in Kano metropolis. Hundreds of shops were gutted by flames, with valuables, including mobile phones and accessories, reportedly worth hundreds of millions of naira, lost to the inferno. Eyewitnesses say the fire was triggered by a power converter spark, and in a disturbing twist, no fire service personnel were present during the critical moments when it all went up in smoke.
News Central was on the ground shortly after the incident. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Bagudu, who filed in a report on it, will be joining us now to talk about what he witnessed at the scene. Emmanuel, if you can hear me, good morning, and thank you for being here. You arrived at the scene not long after the fire began. Paint us a picture. What did you see?
Well, it's a very, very devastating inferno. On the Sallah day, very significant day in the lives of the people of Kano, and it came in, as a kind of a way of, making the Sallah so emotional for all of them. They are supposed to be celebrating. Some of them have to quit celebration and have to go back to their shops, to gather what they can gather, bring together, neighbors and try to, put, their things in order and then trying to see that they can minimize loss. The fire service came out with a statement that actually it was an explosion from a battery, and a total number of 47 shops were destroyed, and then of course 20 temporary shops were also destroyed. So it's so devastating, and the people of Kano are still trying to commiserate with the people of the young guys there who are trying to make both ends meet, trying to survive. It's a technological center, different kinds of accessories. That's the only place you can find high tech materials, high tech equipment, and that place is now washed away by fire. It's so devastating, and the people of Kano are commiserating. We saw the Emir of Kano send out his messages. He sent out his support, and then we also saw the former governor Rabiu Konkoso visit the place.
Right.
We were there. We met the chairman of Taurani local government, who actually spoke and promised to see how things can be done to revitalize the place. So it's also devastating, and we hope that that market comes back to life so that the people of Kano will continue to enjoy their tech spaces. Yeah.
Emmanuel, like you said the Eyewitnesses account mentioned that the fire started from a power converter. But can you clarify what you gathered about the cause of the fire? And also, we also understand that Eyewitnesses say that the fire service reportedly didn't even show up on time as well. What was it like, putting out the fire? Did you speak to the Eyewitnesses there as well as the fire service people?
Well, officially from the fire service, they mentioned that what they gathered was that the fire was caused by a battery explosion. Now, a battery explosion simply means, there's this inverter or converter, whatever they call it, I'm not an expert, that's being used as an alternative power supply, talking about the solar system. That was what the fire service said, a battery explosion. And then as soon as they found out, they tried to put the fire off, but of course it's already gone, destroyed about 47 shops. But they tried their best to see that, because we have over 600 shops put together, both permanent and temporary, in that particular community. So it's something that's very devastating, and the fire service made their warning very clearly that Nigerians, wherever we're using converters, we're using inverters, we should be able to handle our battery properly. And Kano has not even experienced, cold. The place is very, very hot. For the past 3 weeks, it's been heat waves here and there. So we should expect that kind of incident to happen. And of course, with the Sallah frenzy and all that, Sallah euphoria and all that, where people just, concentrating on celebration, forgetting, to put their business in order. They're all, engrossed in the celebration mood. One can expect that just such errors can happen. Yeah.
Indeed, errors can happen. I wanted to talk to you again about the fire service response time. Could the damages have been minimized if the fire service had been there on time? And what in previous cases, I'm sure there has been cases where you've witnessed this kind of event in the past. What is the history with responding to tragedies like this?
Yes, yes. It was slow, very slow. I was there with my camera person. We stood there. We interviewed a lot of people. For at least an hour, we didn't see any fire service, operative. So it was very slow. And the most surprising is the fact that apart from the federal fire service, we also have the Kano State fire service. Located here somewhere in Dakata area of Kano State. Even none of them responded. And that's like we said, everybody was engrossed in the celebration. Nobody expected that this kind of thing will happen on a day of a celebration, and so everybody was relaxed. So it's a kind of lesson that Nigerians, we must learn, that on the period of celebration like this, sensitive areas like the farm center, like the tech areas, like where we have electricity being used, by a lot of people, concentration has to be made when people are celebrating. That we just get engrossed and forget about ourselves, and then before we know it, we're all, running hanky-panky trying to, fix one or two things. So it was slow. And this should serve as a deterrent to everybody. And, one can just look at it as a kind of funny situation, because this is a huge loss.
Yeah, but Emmanuel,
in the country where we have, in the state where we have both the fire service and the federal fire service.
Emmanuel.
State fire service and federal fire service. And then this kind of loss is happening. It's devastating. Right. And then one cannot but, ask questions.
Right, Emmanuel,
so
but the thing about emergency response really is that it's because of how uncertain times are. That's why emergency response are created. It's even on days like, celebrations and holidays and public holidays and festivities is where they're always on red alert, because anything can happen at any time. It could be someone driving and then the car goes off in flames, God forbid, Those are the reasons, that's one of the main reasons why, fire services and the police station and security agencies are created for situations like this. So one must be ready at all time, for issues like this. But let's also look at the damage of what this fire caused. Do we know how many shops were affected by this? Is it all the entire market or just a part of the market?
Yes, a total of 47 shops were destroyed. Then 47 permanent shops were destroyed. Then 20 temporary shops were destroyed. And that, of course, includes mobile phones, devices, laptops, and all that. So it's quite devastating. It's a huge loss. 47 permanent shops, and then 20 temporary shops. And then there's something I also discovered about the farm center. The farm center is congested, very, very congested. The place is so congested that one can hardly even find space to move. You can hardly, it's not like our what we have in other big cities like in Lagos and
I guess these are old markets. Emmanuel, these are old markets, right? Some of these old markets tend to be a little more clustered than the modern ones that we have. So that takes me to what the government's response has been. Has there been any statement, perhaps towards rebuilding the market or assisting these business owners to start off again?
Yes. There has been a response. There has been a response from the state government. In fact, the response started from the local government chairman of Tauni. That place is actually under Tauni local government area. Where we also have an immediate response from the state government. We also had a response from the traditional council talking about the 16th emir of Mohammed Sanusi II also responded that they will support. But you just give them money and they go back and put themselves in congested areas. I mean, that place actually wants an expansion.
Okay, I think we're having a bit
of an alternative space. They are congested in that place. They are congested. That is developing every day. Yeah, the young guys are developing every day. they are making a lot of initiatives every day, and they are learning the tech business every day. So they need expansion. They are in numbers. So that particular space needs expansion. That is what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and just finally, and one has to talk about, the mood of the community. This was Sallah Day, right? Like you rightfully put, everyone was out, celebrating with their friends and family and loved ones. And it's supposed to be a joyous occasion. To now cope with this massive loss, what's the mood with the victims? Were you able to talk to any of the shop owners who lost their property? And what was the sense you got from him?
Yeah. We spoke to a lot of shop owners. Of course, we spoke to them, and most of them are just, devastated. It's a very devastating experience. Most of them feel it's a setback to their businesses. They believe that they have to start afresh, and it's something that they cannot just help imagine. They cannot imagine, and it's something that is unexpected, and it's very shocking to them. And all that we try to talk to them about is to find out how they intend to recover. And they believe, and these guys believe in their skills. One thing I noticed about the people of Kano is because they're very resilient people. They're business-minded. In the middle of this kind of incident, most of them are still confident that they will still bounce back. There's no any item of hopelessness. We don't see any hopelessness, in the air. Most of them feel sad, though, but of course, they believe that at the end of the day, there is light. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that can-do spirit is what, and the resilience is what we're known for as a people when it comes to Nigeria, across all, languages, culture, or tribe. Emmanuel, many thanks for giving us your, first-hand experience of this and just giving us that report. Appreciate you for coming on. And also, this is a call to everyone. Please make sure to insure your properties, your home, as well as your businesses. Also, whenever there's a heat wave, you want to turn off all appliances, every single thing. A heat wave, it's only, especially when it's battery powered, it's most likely going to get overheated. It would explode and there will be fire. Emmanuel, once again, thank you. Emmanuel Bagudu, our correspondent live from Kano State, giving us a bit of insight following the fire that happened on Eid Day and the GSM Market in Kano State. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we come back, we'll bring you the breakfast headlines news, and afterwards, there's plenty more. Stay here.
All right, at the time that Judith has been waiting for so long, since we started Breakfast Extra, is live on your screen. Pictures from the Ojude Oba Festival from Ijebu-Ode. That's what you're looking at now. We've actually been looking at it a bit before it came on your screen, and we've been enjoying the beautiful pictures. For those that might not be aware, it is an iconic festival, an annual celebration held 2 days after Eid al-Kabir.
Yes, indeed. And what you're seeing there is just the spectators and their arrival. This festival is just a living display of culture, royalty, pageantry, and of course the sons and daughters of the Ijebu kingdom, both at home and in diaspora. They're all gathered here in celebration, and also to converge to honor the Awojale. That's a traditional ruler in grand style. You're going to see many majestic horse parades as well. The attires are going to be interesting. The colors as well. I cannot wait for the full details that's going to follow through today. Now, do remember that our correspondent Igbalani Omoni is in Ijebu-Ode. He's been there since, Friday? And he's going to give us all the full details when we establish connection with him. So he will join us live on the program. But then this is just live visuals just coming at you there from where the festival is happening.
One thing I would say, it doesn't matter what part of Nigeria you're from, we know how to turn up. Just look at those pictures of those people. There was a guy that just went, passed, what he was wearing looked really good.
Yeah, you know what I love the most about this is just the coordination of it. You can tell that there's a lot of intentionality that goes into this. It's been planned for, months? Just because there's also, I think there's a passing of age as well. There is, with each color and each group, they represent a particular group. So there's an age grade, there's a family as well. So all those colors represent something, and their attires all represent a particular group. Please, can you move away from our screen? There we go. I know it's blocking our camera. Please, we're trying to see, all right? So we're definitely going to get all the details. Balani and Moni will give us all of that. As soon as he joins.
The details of the organization, how we do the organization of events like this doesn't cease to amaze me. How you plan it, when you move, who to go, where. Right. Who is in charge of this? Look at that.
You know, it's amazing. It's gorgeous. I cannot deny. And it's also a bold celebration and also acceptance of one heritage and its full display, the deep-rooted pride in the heritage of their culture and their people, and they own it with so much pride, and that's what we as Nigerians stand for. You know, it's that deep-rooted pride in our culture, our heritage, our traditions, and who we are. And that's what Ojude Oba
I'm actually
is.
already thinking of whether I should be there next year.
Now, well, you want to be among the 100 million people. It's a 100 million. Half of the country is going there.
I want to be in that environment, the vibrancy. It gives, there is a joy in being among happy people. And obviously, these people are happy to be celebrating. Yeah. Look at this. Look at the beadwork,
the embroidery, the intricacies, the whites, man. Look at that.
And they said it's when people walking away, you just say, money's talking.
Oh, yes. And the cavalry as well. I cannot wait for the majestic horse parades, which are the cavalry, which are coming as well, and they will show that. Cannot wait. Now, we do understand that Igbalaniyo Moni has interviewed one of the attendees and also who is the son of the soil. We must know him from way back. He's the viral, he's now a viral sensation and influencer, and also a big face of this festival. It's none other than Farouk Oreagba. We're going to bring you that interview right about now. Balani joins us now. Ni, how are you doing?
Explosive. And I'm here with the iconic individual from last year who went viral, Farouk Oreagba. The morning, morning. Yeah. Well, nice to see you guys here. Thank you very much. Well, I'm trying to keep up my own steez. I see you're still your elements, but don't worry, I'll change it for you. I will change it. You know, the thing is, everybody's waiting to see what I'm going to wear. So I've been trying to keep it on the wraps for so long. But in a few minutes, I think all will be revealed. Woo! I'm nervous. I'm excited. You know, but this is what I do. This is my hometown. I mean, you can see the love. You saw the love we got this morning. It's just, you know, I do this. This is how I start every year. Last year, in this very spot, there was a video of me drinking beer, and this is what I do. I mean, look around you. Got people everywhere. This is my hood. This is my hometown. This is my family hood. And I'm sure when you come out, every other person's steez will just reduce. You know, give you the steez. That's the plan now. Maintain your steez and composure. 100. All right, we'll look out for that. We'll look out. I'm going to do a quick Superman move, and I'll be out shortly. Looking out to that. Looking out to that. All right. Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right, so we have it from Mr. C's.
Okay, Mr. Steez himself just, you know, teasing us to expect something spectacular.
I cannot wait. He has already said, he said he would just come like a thief in the night, give us a bit of steez and leave. I cannot wait. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so glad I get to be on air to experience it live as it happens. Ooh, I love that, I love that. But it's happening now, live footage there from Ijebu Ode, Ogun State for the Ojude Oba Festival. As all eyes and everyone is set for it to unfold today.
All right, let's enjoy the sounds for a bit. And as soon as our correspondent comes done, we will get to talk to him and get a real feel of what's going on.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a little break from the festivities. Unfortunately, the development we're about to bring to you is not a celebratory one. In a chilling development that has sent shockwaves through Delta State, dozens of women from the Agbaru community in Ughelli North local government area have taken to the streets to protest the mysterious disappearance of at least 26 children in the area. The peaceful but emotionally charged demonstration highlights the growing concerns over the deteriorating security situation in Delta State. TJ News Nigeria gathered that the protesting women dressed in black marched through major streets in Agbaru, chanting songs of sorrow and waving placards with inscriptions such as, "Stop stealing our children."
Our correspondent, Austin Azu, is on the ground live in that community to speak to some of the protesters. Austin.
Talk to us. What's going on? What are they saying?
Good morning. Is it Wiki?
All right, go ahead. I can see that the women you seated on a bench with people beside you.
All right.
What's their grievance?
Yes. Okay, we are currently in Agbaru, Ughelli North local government area of Delta State. A few days ago, these women you are seeing beside me here took to the streets to protest over what has repeatedly occurred in the community over the sudden disappearance of 26 of their girl children and so on and so forth. But this morning at the fall, the spokesperson for Egweya, who goes by Elizabeth. Elizabeth, how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, tell us what really happened for the community.
Fine. What happened for our community? When make us dance that on Thursday. As all of us did the town, we begin to hear mothers. They cry all about, my pikin lost, oh, my pikin lost, oh, my pikin lost, oh. So children, they lost. As from 10 years down, they lost. Not be one, not be two, not be three, not be four, not be five. As the things come, they continue like that. It can't make us the mothers, because we get a mothers meeting. We the aware of the town, we get meeting. So as we hear this cry every day, the thing called day very pain to we the mothers. So that's why all of us can't gather ourselves. Even our people, we not go meet them before we cry this our cry. We always send message to our PG. Our PG not day house. We just tell people when you follow her, they tell us, say, see what we they do. When we dance, go our town hall. We still cry, go meet her, but we not meet her for house. We cry, go palace, we not meet our king. So we begin to cry for inside the town. That's why we cry, say, make government help us. Say, this thing when they happen for Agbaro, so we never see this kind of thing once. This is too much. Our children begin the loss, even those in a goat or fowl, the owner go find her. If you not see her, you go begin the panic, the waka all about, they swear. Talk less of say human being. So now we begin cry that day. So after the cry now, because he say the message, if the people go to the station, we don't see any action from government. And the people when the children they lost, so that they go there, go give report. They not they see anything. So many for the town when this thing happened to. That's why we cry. Say this thing when they happen so. We mothers, our children don't die finish. We don't know who be who tomorrow. As they're small, so the one we go fit bring Agbaro up, few days inside, we don't know. So now all of us get her. Today now, governor or all this one where they so the time when their mama born them, they don't know say their pikin go fit dey that kind of position. So all this one when they lost for Agbaro, both EDG and strangers when they stay the town, now their children they lost. So the thing called the Agbaro name, oh, hey Agbaro people, hey Agbaro people. This thing called the pain to we mothers. That's why we cry out.
Okay, Mama, you fit tell us, say, who now they suspect, say, they caught thief on our children for Agbaro here?
We not suspect anybody, oh. We not suspect anybody. But the thing too much. We not suspect anybody. But the thing too much. That's why we cry out.
Okay. Una say na don't go police station, go report.
We mothers, before we dance, we not go police station, go report to. Now the people when their children lost, now that they go there, see.
As they go police station, they go report. So waiting police tell them.
According to yesterday, when our governor still hear this matter, he called send our Ugele North chairman with some of the people come meet our king yesterday. They can still call us to go the palace. As we go the palace, when they ask us, as they talk for years, so now so we still talk for them with my second be secretary to the aware. You know they here now. So when we don't make our statement finish, the women when they are picking lost, so we call them, follow body like 7 of them. So when we feel reach the house, because the call not reach our hand quick, we just quickly pick some when near our environment. We will they call go the palace. So now then call give the report for there. Say they go station, go report for station for police. Say they go tell them, say then here if they carry any picky call, we go let you know. They go say they go, they will call go.
This thing when they happen, so if you put time frame when the thing they happen for Agbaro, so.
Hey, now but since my job put on saying from this March come, this thing they happen so. That's why the thing even fear us, because one go cry today, then they find that one they never see, they break another one. One are twins. When mama they cook for kitchen, just carry something go kitchen. Say I go put fish for my soup. Before he turn back, picking the two picking when they pray for the mouth like this. Before the woman turn back, they don't carry one come out. You not see him again.
Okay, we have Madam Teresa alongside with Mama Elizabeth here. Okay, Mama Teresa, you na person when they next to the most elderly woman for the community here. Now, waiting una don't do as women for the community about what did happen so. Okay. Mama, you speak Yoruba, go interpret.
Oyo brave neni kede manari gwena iri wiari defo lodiane ovo na yo wiari omo mare mama na re yo o ma na afia duedenu nena aye na afia duedenu nena.
Okay.
Arokore damani o ya ba via ruru.
Okay, thank you. What Mama Teresa just said here is that as elderly women, what they did on that fateful day is to march around the community and they prayed for those who are committing this heinous crime against them here in the community. However, those that have been declared missing, that they have never met any man, so their cry will be upon their heads. However, that they will still resort to traditional means of fighting to ensure they are able to get justice. Okay, let me come back to Mama Elizabeth. Okay, when the council chairman constituted her yesterday, waiting and resolve from inside the meeting one whole yesterday.
Waiting we resolve for his side. They never see finish waiting make the call. Because they say our governor when send the call, not the house. But they say they need the mothers when their children lost. So make we bring the come Ugele on Tuesday. Make we the elderly women when dance so with all those mothers, make we come Ugele, cause see our governor on Tuesday. That's what they told.
Okay. All right. It's expected that this issue will be looked into by the local government chairman alongside the state governments in the coming days, hopefully from on Tuesday. And from what we gathered so far, that the council chairman came to the community yesterday to meet with the women, but unable to meet with some of them. So arrangement has been slated for Tuesday for a security council meeting here in the local government area here to look at the issues bedeviling Agbaro community and other areas of the local government area, so that a lasting peace and solutions will be proffered to this ugly incident that has bedeviled Agbaro and environs.
I'm hoping, just like those ladies, that by Tuesday there will be some, some response, some action taken. I do worry, though, that the longer they wait, the harder it may be to find these children, because time is of the essence. So, well, like you said, let's see what happens on Tuesday. Thank you again for bringing us the report.
Also in a zoo live there from Agbaro there, as those mothers are crying out as they protest over the disappearance of 26 children from that community. We switch gears now. As you see at the bottom there, you see more live visuals from the Ojude Oba festival. Will continue. But in the meantime, let's switch gears to bring you the big story for today. It's about citizens as stakeholders, as WIKE urges public-private partnership for development. Let's just get right into it, shall we? Again, now it's all about governance and national development, where the conversation is shifting from blame to shared responsibility. At a recent public lecture at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, WIKE, delivered a message that's sparking conversation across the country. He urged Nigerians to abandon cynicism, indifference, and hopelessness, and instead partner with the current administration to birth a new era of transformation and national development.
According to the minister, President Bola Tinubu means well and is committed to delivering progress. But he says this cannot be achieved by government alone. It requires a productive alliance between leadership and followership. Joining us now to unpack the significance of these remarks is the head of our Abuja Bureau here at News Central, Amadine Uye, who has been closely following the activities and rhetoric coming out of the FCT administration. Amadine, good to see you this morning. You've followed the minister's time in the FCT closely. What's your take on this latest call for public-private partnership and citizens' involvement? Is it just political rhetoric or a sincere appeal?
Felicity, first of all, we have to realize that just as the saying goes that there is a responsibility of government to citizens, but there's also a responsibility of citizens to government. When there is a balance, you see progress in every society. Now, that call is not out of place, because what we have had in times past is that a lot of Nigerians don't know how to separate politics from governance. There's usually a time for politicking, But after that time, which comes with elections, where citizens go out to exercise their franchise and elect candidates of their choice, then the period of governance begins. That period of governance usually begins with citizens following up on what government is doing in their bid to provide the dividends of democracy to Nigerians or to the public. And that means citizens will criticize a government constructively. Citizens will protect infrastructure already put in place. Citizens will go out of their way to work with security agencies to help them in terms of intelligence sharing, intelligence information and others. So that call, I think, is very, very apt. Nigerians must rise up to understand that this government is our government. Whether you voted for them or you didn't vote for them, as long as they have been sworn in, the time of politics should be set aside. And citizens need to get together.
Sorry to interject. We will come back to you. Please hold on. But we need to cross live now to Ijebode, where Ibgalani Omoni is standing by to speak with us. He has a limited time, so that's why the interruption. Ni, talk to us. What is going on? And we've seen the beautiful pictures you sent already. But the steez, the guy with the steez, is he out yet?
Felicity, good morning. Well, it's a beautiful scene here. Just as you can see behind me, from my left-hand side to my right-hand side, the pavilion is filled up with different age groups in their colors, in their elements, if I can put it that way. Beautiful colors, of course, as the vein of the event to show off cultural heritage. And right now we are even having, I want to believe, is this Farouk? Hold on, let me see if it's Farouk. We just have Otumba Gbenga Daniel. That is Otumba Gbenga Daniel arriving. I hope we can get his visuals. It's quite crowded there, and we have to stay at a strategic position to be able to get all the scene. And as I said earlier, that is Otumba Gbenga Daniel, just arrived in the pavilion of Sir Sikiru Adetona, of course, in celebration of the 2025 Ojude Oba Festival. But let me tilt away from there. I met with Farouk earlier, and I was asking him, he was still in his personal attire at the time. He has not changed his wear, and I was asking him, what do we expect today? I caught a glimpse of him when he was dressing up though, and we're expecting him to come in anytime soon on his horse. I don't want to give away the color and what I saw him wearing, but he was looking really good. And once he comes in through there, we're able to catch the
Okay, I think we lost the connection there, but I mean...
It was threatening us with a good time. Neo Moni, they are correspondent live from Ojude Oba Festival. We'll try to reconnect with him back as the festival kicks off in grand style. Well, it's back to studio here, where we've got our chief of Abuja Bureau, News Central, Amadin Uyi, who is on standby. Amadin, please continue. We caught you earlier, as you were saying. I mean, like Nigerians do have to own a certain level of responsibility when it comes to, you know, governance, and we should separate politicking for governance. But I mean, Amadin, let's reference your own, you know, you have been reporting, you have years of experience on the ground. Do you think that the bulk of the blame should lie at the feet of Nigerians? Are we ready or even willing to partner with the government, seeing how the indices of the economy and, you know, the cost of living crisis seems to be dwindling with every administration, every year?
Now, Judith, over the years, Nigerians have not owned up to the fact that this country belongs to all of us. It's unfortunate to say this. Over the years, even you see the attitude during elections. We cry voter apathy. You go on the street during elections, you see young men playing football. They are not interested. It is always easy to say, let's put the blame on the doorstep of governments. But listen, there must be a balance. Who will fight to take charge, to take ownership of this country? This country belongs to Nigerians. You hear about the Japa syndrome, where Nigerians will cross the Sahara Desert, go through rafts over the sea to see they get to Europe and get to other countries. It is because the citizens of those countries have taken ownership of their country. They've taken responsibility. If they see anything that is going wrong, they rise up and say, we are not going to let you get away with it.
Amadine, are you being quite fair to the Nigerian people? Because your assertion is alluding to the fact that the Nigerians are complicit. I mean, you have covered protests in this country. You've covered young people being shot down when they make effort to, speak up against what they believe that the government is doing wrong. So are you being fair in your assessment that Nigerians are not taking ownership of their country? Again, add to that, is it possible to separate the message from the messenger in this instance, knowing, some persons have had some experience that they feel is not so great?
Felicity, what I'm saying is that there should be a balance. And what I'm saying is that, I have covered protests. Just earlier on, we talked about 26 children disappearing in Agbaro community in Delta State. Now you saw the pictures, how many women came out. You're talking about a community that you have over 200,000 people. And when you have just 200 or 100 people coming out, only that number interested in a community of over 100,000 people, will it be fair? I'm talking about what I see on the field. I'm talking about the statistics. The only protest in the last 15 years, Felicity, that you say Nigerians tried to own up was the NSAS protest, which swept in fact, almost every part of the country. And that forced, at least, it forced government to get up and say, we are going to disband SARS. We are going to set up commissions to look into their complaints. Apart from that, I've covered protests in Abuja. How many people? You are covering protests and you see people in cars saying you people are disturbing us. Please just go about your duty. You are causing pain to us. So
okay, I think maybe we're going a bit away from the crux of this conversation, because the reason we're having this conversation is comments made by the FCT minister about public-private partnership to see how we can develop our country. So talk to us about some of his actions so far that, give impetus to this call to a commitment from the people to participate in trying to do what is right.
Now, Felicity, let's talk about security. Insecurity, how it's affecting citizens from the FCT and across the country. The people that perpetrate crime, are they ghosts? They come into community. Remember, I was in Uromi a few weeks ago where I went to investigate the Uromi
Amadine, sorry, I'm really sorry to be dragging you back, but I really need you to speak to, what Wike is doing that is going to encourage this commitment, people to accept and follow his call for us to be a lot more committed than we are at the moment to growing the country.
Felicity, from Tuesday next week, there's going to be a 17-day commissioning of several infrastructure projects in the FCT. The first time is happening in over 15 years, where you see bridges, roads all being constructed at once, schools being renovated, where you see the FCT is no longer focusing development just in the city center, but in every area council. Every area council has a minimum of 2 projects that will be commissioned by the president. This was done by the current administration. And then we have the problem, just like I said, when these projects are being commissioned, it is citizens' responsibility to take ownership. When people go to federal roads to steal manholes, which results to accidents, it is citizens' responsibility to report those who steal these manholes. It is citizens' responsibility to report to the police anytime they encounter anybody trying to sell these manholes. When people go to the streets and cut cables meant for public use, these cables are not going to be sold in Chad. They are not going to be sold even in Lagos. it is still within the FCT that they will be sold to buyers. It is citizens' responsibility to report to the police that, hey, I am seeing cables being sold at so place. Can you go and investigate? When strange faces come into communities and you know they don't live there, it is citizens' responsibility to call the police. We have seen this trade movement. Can you deploy to help us find out before it results to a breakdown of law and order? So for the FCT, I would say the FCT minister, I don't want to speak like a spokesperson, but someone who has been on the streets, who has seen these projects from their inception to when they are commissioned, I think it is fair to say that the FCT administration is doing a lot in terms of infrastructure.
Now let's remove infrastructure, right? And I remember, and let's remove state in this case, or the Federal Capital Territory, and look at it nationally. I remember about 2 weeks back when we had the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate for the 2022 or 2023 Lagos State elections. That's Badigbo Road Survival. He said something that, you know, he wishes that the Nigerian politics itself switches from infrastructure, road development to more ideological based, you know, politics where it's about, you know, free education versus no free education, abortion versus women's rights, you know, because when it gets to that point, it means that infrastructure has already been developed. You are talking about the FCT. Let's look at it on a national level, right? The national level, if we trickle it down to grassroots, we only just had autonomy for local government chairmanship or local government areas. We only just had it, I think, late last year or early this year when it comes to grassroots governance, right? If you look at security, that's a completely different conversation entirely. You're talking about 26 children. You're saying that the community, over 100 homes are there, more than 100,000 residents, but somehow only these women are coming out to cry out. But the number got to 26. 26, imagine. Nobody from the police station come out to put a press release or a press statement or even raise an alarm until the women went out to the streets. And so it begs to ask the question about whether or not Nigerians should trust the national level before coming down. Because long-lasting trust, there's a trust deficit that we have with governance at the top. Talk more of the security that is meant to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians. So why would you fault the willingness or the unwillingness on the unyielding nature of Nigerians to trust whatever it is that they say?
Judith, this is where we get it wrong as citizens. I can tell you that in some countries, if 5 children disappear, they will shut down the entire city.
Why didn't the local government chairman shut it down?
Get my point. Get my point. We must understand that governance is about service. When you employ somebody to serve you and the person fails in your responsibility, you don't sit down and point to that person and say, why have you failed? You get up and hold that person to account. That is what I am saying. 26. And life goes on as
okay,
usual.
I think a bit of clarity is required here. Ahmadine, I think a bit of clarification.
Hang on, just let him finish.
No, I need to interject. I need to make a clarification here. We just saw this report today. You can notice from the conversation that the place is not as open as it is. And we did not have actual visuals, like videos of the protest that happened on Thursday. So I think we should be fair here. Probably if we've had more media attention, more could have been done. We're talking of a small community, maybe not so small, but they are doing what they can. And that is why I think, if I'm not wrong, maybe News Central is the one that is bringing that story to the fore.
Felicity, that is exactly what I am saying. Agbaro is just one community, but it is in Delta State. Should it be an only Agbaro problem? There are sister communities that this can happen. Ugeli is not a small place in Delta State. I have been there. If it is only, see, we would have been seeing the news and the pictures. What I am saying is, for this to have happened, citizens need to put away that complacent attitude and say, no, It might happen in Agbaru, but it concerns us in Asaba. It concerns us in Ugeli. It concerns us in Warri. It concerns us in the whole of Delta State. If 50,000 students march to the government house, somebody has to take responsibility. There is a police DPO. There is a commissioner of police in that state. What are they doing? Has somebody resigned? Has the IG of police forced somebody to take over responsibility?
All right, let's see what happens. I mean, we can't. I think there's a thin line here. We cannot assume to know what is going to happen in the next day. The story,
Very quickly, right? Imagine, this is the call from Wiki to asking for a public-private partnership or Nigerians to own and give, the government space. But this is also the rhetoric that we've seen from every supporter of the APC and this administration, where they keep pushing the bulk of the blame to the people and not owning to their own shortfalls or the shortcomings when it comes to the renewed hope agenda. Why is he asking for this partnership now? And do you think that he's also aligning with the rhetorics of supporters of the APC or the Tinubu administration?
Now, Judith, to be fair, Wike has done much in the FCT. Felicity wants us to concentrate on the FCT. But if President Bola Tinubu comes up and makes promises as part of the renewed hope agenda, who judges whether he has performed or not? It is the citizens. Who reviews what they have done and says, Mr. President, you have put a minister in this position, he has failed us. You must act. It is the citizens. Once those in governance know that their electoral fortunes, their future lies in the hands of citizens, they will sit up. So my own position is this. Yes, government, those in government have a responsibility to live up to their expectations. But it is citizens that have the final rights to judge and determine whether they have performed or not.
Like I was trying to say earlier, the situation in Agbaru is fluid and developing. We have an update now, so we're going to pause in this conversation and go over, perhaps just say thank you. You could stay on. We could come back to you and get your thoughts as well. But we have Austin Azu standing by with the parents of some of the children that have been taken. Austin, over to you now. Let's talk to the parents, please.
Okay, earlier on we told you about what happened in Agbaru, and where we had Madam Elizabeth and Mama Teresa. They spoke extensively of what has happened. However, we are before some of the parents of the missing children here in Agbaru. I have Lucky Eriga, the father of one of the child that was missing. Okay, please, Lucky, tell us what happened.
Lucky Eriga, my name is Lucky. Eriga is my son. Since on 29 of this May, came for school around 1 o'clock, maybe around 12, na KG3. Around 1 o'clock, after he must have shoved in it, go play around the environment. Now from there, I see my pikin. From that day to today now, today is Sunday, which is making 10 days now, I never see my pikin. And money when I don't wait concerning this issue, don't pass 100,000, I never see my pikin. My wife, he not this son, myself, I know this son. The food shop say I not fit the shop now, unless I see my pikin. If I get us some money.
Austin, can you ask him how old the child is?
Your son. Then secondly, who you spend the money for?
As this don't happen so, I dey waka go here, native church here and here to make sure say I fit get my pikin.
How old is your son?
My son is 6 years.
Okay. Okay, like Mama, tell us what thing happened.
That's the last week Friday. My pikin can't go school. I dey as I not go anywhere. I sit down for us, can't come from school around 12. Now KG na day. When it close come, I can't do food. With I call it. We that one where they there. We bitty call it the food. I dey as we call enter outside. Small time I go the since when we go pray, I know the same way come. If you go pray, if you dey hungry for water, you come ask, come drink water. I come to say, since when you come out, so you never come drink water. Man go check where for the pray, whether he did there. Now come go check whether he age they pray. Now come reach there. I reach there, I see there, the age there, they pray for there. I come ask there, say, where Eriga, not reach here. They come tell me, say, since the way they crow for school, so you never see Eriga. I'm never see her. They say now you they pray for you. Now they start to find her. Read today, so I never see her. Today night be 10 days now. And last week Friday, night the thing happened. I never see Eriga.
Austin,
okay,
please
as a mother, how you take the cope now for the past 10 days, sleeping in your house without your child?
Every day sleep, and they find her. They sleep.
Austin, please ask her if they have been able to go to the police and what is the police telling them, and have they spoken to other parents who have similar story about their child?
Okay, Lucky.
Yes.
As this thing happens, so
yes,
when I don't go police station, then secondly, the people when it happen to within Agbara for years, so you don't feel mix them when I feel come together do what you go do.
As this it don't happen, so whether according to people mad say whether I read 20, 30, now my own now no. As it pay me that night around 10 o'clock, I go police station say I thief my pikin. Police told me say they go see. I said okay. Now we date you today now. They go see.
Okay, you suspect anybody or any people when we say that they involved for this stealing of your pikin, so?
Well, this thing I not suspect anybody. If we not be God, I not suspect anybody. Police told me say I should make arrest. I said, who I go arrest now? I just go arrest innocent. Why not suspect anybody saying that this. So I should go and make an arrest. I said, no, I cannot make an arrest. I put everything for God's hand.
Austin,
today,
so
Austin,
now,
Austin.
what thing they want make government do concerning this issue now?
Austin,
because not
can you
your
hear
picking
me?
out they miss for Agbaro.
What I want government to help me. Anything where the feature video Agbaro, make the see where the pikin day, make government help us. Make do that one for me.
Austin.
There's obviously see the pikin, because I not get money. Anything where the government fee do, make the feature see now day after.
Austin, if you can hear me, I want you to ask how long the child has been missing.
I can hear you.
Yes, I want you to ask how long the child had been missing and when he disappeared. Also, the lady beside you as well. The child, the age, the school, and when he was missing.
Said that just a moment
The child
ago.
next, the
It's
woman.
for 10 days.
And then for the 26 children. For the 26 children.
Actually, they said...
Go ahead.
Okay, actually, both of them confirmed that the child is 6 years and the child has been missing for the past 10 days. Okay, Mr. Lucky, which job you they do?
My professional work that be capital. Professional capital, they do furniture, they do roofing. That the work when they do.
Mama, how many children you not get?
Now 7.
Which position this your picking when they miss stay for inside the 7 children? Which position this picking when they miss now a day for inside the children?
Like be last born.
Okay, now be your last born.
Has anybody contacted them regarding the disappearance of the children? Has anyone contacted the community? Has anybody contacted the community regarding the disappearance of the children, whether for ransom or anything?
Anybody for inside the community, don't come tell una say make the bring money come, make they bring the children come, or your picking come.
No. Anybody like that never call tell me.
Okay.
Anybody never call tell me. Now yesterday when my wife go Ojude place, say governor go come. Maybe now governor come big now so.
Austin, can you confirm if
governor come this time yesterday? What thing governor tell you now yesterday?
He say on Tuesday, he say make we carry the pikin picture come on Tuesday for palace. I say go to.
All right, it's quite a pathetic situation here in Agbaro, and parents are still counting their losses. Hopefully that by the end of the day, they will be able to have a sigh of relief following what the assurance the police has given to them from their own statement. And of course, from the meeting the local government chairman had with them yesterday, it seems there might be going to be a security meeting on Tuesday where these issues will be looked into.
All right. That's Austin Azu there, live from Agbaro community in Delta State. Austin, many thanks. I appreciate you for coming on, and we will definitely be in touch for more updates during the course of the hour. And also many thanks to you, Amadin Uyi, for just being patient and sitting by with us. I mean, it's very easy to talk about unity and cooperation, but the real challenge here is that 6-year-old child that's been missing for 10 days, and there is no intelligence, no accountability, and no place to start, literally no hope. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, we're going to come back to plenty more right here. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. And welcome back. As one community loses 26, another is reunited with their child. Now is a story of resilience, of justice, and above all, hope. In what has been described as a major breakthrough in the fight against human trafficking in Edo State, the Edo State government has successfully rescued a 20-year-old girl who was trafficked to Burkina Faso as a teenager 5 years ago. Now, this rescue effort not only highlights the ongoing threat of modern slavery, but also the renewed commitment by the state government to bring home victims and dismantle trafficking networks.
Joining us now for more insight into the story of a new beginning is News Center's correspondent who brought us the report during the week, Israel Eferobo. Israel, good to see you. It seems to be happy stories all around from your end. Talk to us, since the celebration and the partying, what are the real plans for the young lady that was returned home?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, indeed. It's been a joyous mood for the residents of the state, particularly those at the government house, and then those the family members and relatives of the young girl who was trafficked into Burkina Faso for prostitution. Well, so far so good. It's been a moment of reflection. It's been a moment of what next for this young girl. The state government has been asking questions and leading foreign parents as well to go ahead and do the needful for their children and wards to avoid things just like we have witnessed in the case of 20-year-old Yunus. So this is exactly what's been planned for her. The state government, they have gone ahead to ensure that they will from now ensure that parents are spoken to. Parents are indeed told exactly what to do and what not to do. There has to be some form of guidance for parents to ensure that they keep an eye on their children's words. So issues like these and scenarios like this will not happen again. The case of Iwinasa is not the only one that they're tracking at the moment. We understand that the State Migration Agency are also chasing other leads for possible cases abroad as well, particularly in Faso. Yeah.
Oh, I must ask, Israel, I mean, the best place to start is to tell us stories from the beginning, right? So let's talk to me about the journey so far with this young lady. 5 years ago, trafficked at 15 years to Burkina Faso in what is now being described as modern slavery. Were they able to share with you her story? Tell us, what's the beginning of this?
Well, according to the mother of Yunus, she had no idea when this all started. She just found out that her daughter was missing, and then she alerted the authorities and tried to get clarity and answers, but to no avail. There was no answer for her, and then she kept on searching, but it was just the way it was. The daughter left, apparently lured into prostitution, lured into whatever greener pastures that was being sold to her abroad. She was actually destined for a country outside Africa, but whatever happened. She ended up in Burkina Faso. I was hoping to get the head of the migration agency, Mr. Gazuba, was the one who led the rescue mission single-handedly. He left the shores of Nigeria all the way to Burkina Faso to ensure the rescue. The mother of Yunusa did speak to me Central earlier on, and she did say that she did her possible best to see how her daughter can come back home, but she just had no idea how this whole thing happened. She was just a young girl at the age of 15, and she was trafficked just like that. It brings to light the question as well. Our parents need to do much more. How can your child leave the house? How can your child, move away from Nigeria without you having a single idea of where she was or where she was headed?
Did the child also, the 20-year-old, the rescued girl, did she share with you her journey as far, because you're saying that the mother didn't know, she left home and she traveled on her own. Did you speak to the rescued girl and did she share her journey and what exactly was her story?
So the thing is, since when we went to welcome her at the airport, that was on Wednesday. She was traumatized. Basically, she just could not speak, and it was advisable that she indeed have some sort of guidance and trying to prevent the public from really seeing her in such a vulnerable state. So she really could not speak. Well, she did speak. All she had to say was to say thank you to the authorities here in Edo State, the government, the office of the office of the First Lady, Destiny Anani Okwebelo, and that was all that she had to say. I'm quite sure there is much more that she would want to share, but she's still a bit traumatized, and that's why agencies like the Red Cross, and other government agencies as well have all pull resources together to ensure that this young girl is rehabilitated. She is given all the cycle social treatment that needs to be done for her to get her life back on track. So whether we spoke to her or not, at this point in time, it was best advised that she just undergo the rehabilitation process that she needs. But one thing is clear, she was lured abroad for greener pastures.
And that was what it was. Edo State itself is plagued with, this human trafficking, especially, and they target mostly young girls. And this is, like they said, is a coordinated effort by agencies in the Edo State government to rescue her. What's Edo State doing itself? It looks like this administration is taking a stance regarding human trafficking, and illegal migration. What are the efforts and what's been, the concerted efforts taken by this administration?
So thank you so much for that question. So during my findings and indeed at the reception, we had the Attorney General of the state, Mr. Osage, who represented the governor, because the governor was unavoidably absent. He was on some other important events. So Mr. Osage, the Commissioner, the Attorney General, and Commissioner for Justice of the state, he was around. There were also other top government functionaries who were also on ground, members of the State Assembly, those from the Ministry of Education, and just all the bodies that were indeed important in issues like this. They were present, and the goal, rather, the consensus that they needed to do more in trying to stem the tide of human trafficking in Edo State. Yes, you're right. Edo State has been in the news for a very long time now with issues of trafficking in persons here and there. But this administration of Senator Monday Okwebelo is doing everything possible to ensure that this is indeed stopped. And they are putting things in place, machinery in place to ensure that the girls of the state, the young girls of the state are well properly educated, to tell them exactly what it means, to be human, and that there is always a better life outside the life of prostitution, outside the life of being lured, by unsuspected people. That
we're time pressed for this conversation, so I have to interrupt and just ask this one. I asked this at the beginning. I'm not sure if you responded to it, and that is what does rehabilitation entail? I understand that she needs, psychological support and take time off. But one of the reasons you alluded, you said, is this quest for a better life. So in terms of rehabilitation, what is the government saying? Is she going to go back to school? Is she going to learn a trade? I know this is one in many, but the party is over. She's been welcomed. But what will the substance of her life be after the fanfare is gone?
Thank you so much for that. Much later tonight at 9 p.m. News Central now at 9 p.m. on the news, the coordinator of the Office of First Lady at the City will be on the news to speak much more on the plans for young Yunusa. But one thing that was said at the reception held for Yunusa was that the state government will from now handle everything concerning Yunusa to give her and ensure that she has a better life away from what he thought was out there outside the show.
All right. That's for certain. We would ask our viewers to please tune in at 9 p.m. to see the aftermath of what is in store for this rescued 20-year-old girl. And also our efforts here would, our job here would always continue to highlight the stories and, you know, amplify the voices that needs to be heard. Well done, or rather, Israel, well done on all the hard work. Israel Firobo, they are corresponding live from Benin, Edo State. They're giving us a bit of insight following the rescue and reunification of the 20-year-old girl. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, it's going to be time for Ojude Oba, and we also do have Wellness Central. Oh, I've been informed that we're not going anywhere. Ojude Oba is right now. Ni Omoni joins us. Igbala Ni Omoni joins us from the grounds of the Ojude Oba Festival as it kickstarts. I see him. And oh, Ni, finally, you're in the colors. Tell me, what am I looking at?
You asked for the colors, and of course we're delivering the colors. So I'm here with a very unique group. What's the name of this group? What does that stand for? What does that stand for?
We are the children of Kabiyesi Awujale. One.
Okay.
And we stand amongst about 5 Bobanis. Yeah.
What are you looking out for this today? What will stand out for you today? What will be unique for you today?
Yeah, we have just come out to have fun, catch fun, pay homage to the Kabiyesi, then go back to our hall and get together.
So there's an after party?
That's an after party.
There's an after party. Yeah. I hope we're invited to have fun. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And you heard it from one of the groups. Well, so many things are happening right in front of me. As you can see, there's a parade by different groups matched in different attires. I can go on and on, Judith, but I'll let you ask the questions.
Good morning. They're our correspondent. Ani, so when will the parade start? When are we going to see the cavalry and all of the horses? Do we know for certain a particular time we'll start to see the displays?
Well, this is going to go on for a while. As I said, when I was speaking on yesterday, we have over 80 to 85 grades of people and of groups that are available here right now. If you can look at the pavilion behind me, different groups that are going to parade. And so far, since I've been here, I've counted just about 10. We are still going to 80, so it's still going to be a long while. But after that, then the horse riders, the family of the Baloguns are the only ones who do the horse ride, and it's like a competition. And that's where you see the horse dance, the horse march, and so many other varieties. But for now, it's the marching and paying homage of homage to the Awujale of the land.
And would there be any performances just besides the parade and the paying of homage to the Awujale? Will there be any performances? Are there confirmed performances that will be happening at the venue today?
Will there be what? Please take that
performances.
Again.
I was asking about any confirmed performances, whether from a Nigerian artist, folklore or secular.
Well, for now, I've not been able to confirm that. And remember, We spoke to the Olori Ogun some days back, and they mentioned that they always try to keep the culture and the value of and the integrity of this festival, and that is why they don't want to infuse so much into it. They try to keep it the same way it has been, just make it more modernized. So I'm not sure we're going to be having some guest artists come perform in music and comedy, but I might be shocked. I don't know what they have planned. But for now, it is important for us to just stay with what we have here. But I can tell you for a fact that there's not going to be any performance. Good day, sir. That if you don't mind, if I can speak to you. My camera is right there. What group are you representing?
I'm Bob Agute.
Seems you're losing Nia's connectivity there. Nia there, Balani Omonia, our correspondent live from Ijebu Day, covering the Ojude Oba festival.
Group that the people that were born about the same time that the current KBAC,
Seem to be losing the connectivity. We'll try to bring you that interview. Hopefully, we will restore the connection there. The live visuals you're seeing there is all the way from the Ojude Oba Festival in celebrations of Calvary, culture, tradition, and heritage. It's time to switch gears, shall we? As we are ready to discuss Wellness Central is World Brain Day. All right, of course, Wellness Center is a segment where we unpack health issues that matter. And today is June 8th. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you. But also, you share a day with the day that we commemorate World Brain Tumour Day. It's a day dedicated to raising global awareness, supporting those affected, and pushing for early diagnosis and better treatment outcomes. Brain tumors, whether benign or malignant, they remain one of the most complex and life-altering health challenges. And in many African countries, late detection, myths and stigma, and limited access to neurological care often stand in the way of timely intervention.
Joining us now to shed light on the critical health issue is Dr. Yusuf Haron, a medical doctor and founder of the Love for Health organization, a non-profit committed to improving health literacy and access to care across Nigeria. Nigeria is not an easy terrain to work in. Thank you very much first for coming on Breakfast Extra.
For being here.
Tell us about brain health, and in this case, Brain Tumour Day, what it's about. Judith has talked a bit about that, but talk to us about brain health and what are the symptoms or ways to stay healthy first before we talk about to know whether you are sick or not.
Thank you very much for this very important question.
Thank you.
Firstly, the World Brain Tumour Day started 25 years ago in Germany by an NGO in 2000. And as Judith said,
25 years ago is 2000.
Yes.
Let's keep going. My brain did that thing.
So time is flying. We're in 2025 now. And there are myth and reality about World Brain Tumour Days. One of the myths is that when somebody has a brain tumor and presents with symptoms like seizures, which some parts of the world they call, or in Nigeria, some parts of Nigeria, like in Yoruba land, they call like warapa, some things like the person is having involuntary movements. They think the person is possessed, or the person has a witchcraft, or there's a demonic implication to it, and it's a medical condition. Also, some people with brain tumor can present with symptoms of mental illness, and that's another misconception.
Okay, I think we'll have time to look at the symptoms. I wanted us to start on a positive note, and that is brain health. What are some of the things that we need to do to protect our brain health and, you know, minimize the chances of getting brain tumor? We'll talk about the symptoms and all of that, but I wanted to start on a positive note.
So the brain is one of the most vital organs in the whole body, and the brain requires a high supply of oxygen and also blood to it. The brain is protected by the skull, and in the brain is where all our functions are being controlled. The central nervous system, which comprises of the brain and the spinal cord, is also where we take decisions in our body, and it controls our reasoning, our breathing, our cardiovascular system is controlled even by the brain. So the brain is very, very important, and we need to protect it to have a vital health. If the brain is damaged, then we start to have problems in our body. For example, if somebody is having a brain injury or somebody falls on his or her head, then the person can develop what we call bleeding in the brain. If the brain also is affected with what we are talking about today, a tumor, which is divided into two, you could have a benign tumor or a malignant tumor.
What's the difference?
Yes. Benign, from the word benign, is mild, and that has a better prognosis.
Is malicious.
Malignant is
malicious.
Is fatal.
I love how the word is so meek
so malignant
mild.
also has a lower prognosis, and if it affects the brain, which there's one we call glioblastoma multiforme, GBM. Unfortunately, there's a colleague of mine, medical doctor, who had this diagnosis, GBM, after we graduated, and the prognosis is just 12 years. Prognosis means the chances of survival after being diagnosed or during the process is just 12 months. But in
12 months or years?
12 months, 1 year.
So the person's gone now?
The person has gone long ago.
Wow.
He graduated, he got married, his wife was pregnant, he didn't witness the delivery, he passed away.
Oh,
now, the misdiagnosis about it is that even doctors thought it was just malaria because he had recurrent headache, recurrent seizures, he was falling sick repeatedly, he was being treated for malaria. All of a sudden...
That is what I want us to get into, right? And I love that your foundation really is about promoting access to healthcare. In Nigeria, right, there are myths about this, because what you just said, seizures, consistent headaches, and of course fevers, would mean that they would be termed either Obanji or spiritual, or something is wrong with them. And that's the issue. And the thing about the brain is that you don't see it, so you don't know what it is. It comes in other bodily symptoms as opposed to the brain itself. So let's talk about those myths and the symptoms that are linked to those myths, and how we should ring the alarm for our viewers who are watching and be like, these symptoms that you're seeing, it is not spiritual. If you feel this, go to the hospital.
Now, 26% of cases of fatality cases, particularly in children, cancer, solid cancer cases, causes of death are cancer brain tumors, most especially cancer of the brain, which we are talking about. So the most common cause of death from cancer of a solid organ is the brain in children. And when a child presents, particularly if it's a child who can't talk properly or who hasn't started talking, start having these seizures, having this kind of symptoms, people might think maybe this child has been possessed. And the only way you can diagnose, or the most significant way you can diagnose a brain tumor.
But diagnosis is an issue here, right? MRIs are expensive,
absolutely.
right? There are not enough medicals. I mean, with the Jacques syndrome that's affected your healthcare, I mean, your sector, it means that there's a brain drain in health sector. And then there's also the thing of cost as well. I remember I was trying to get an MRI for one of my family members, and I had to pay out of pocket. Do you know what I mean? It's still, my stomach is still paining me. I had to do it, but I was like, they had to continue again. But it was very important that we get it done, because it was around that time to do it. Right. And so healthcare in Nigeria, and, for those who have lost hope and be like, okay, the symptom sounds familiar, but I cannot do it. What's the hope there?
To be honest, the government has to now contribute. They have to come in, because MRI is very, very expensive. Even I remember about 15 years ago, then it was like 50,000. Now it is way more than that. So the government has to subsidize healthcare. They've removed subsidy from fuel. Yes, going a bit into politics. They should now subsidize the health. There are some countries where they subsidize it, because MRI is one of the main ways you can diagnose cancer of the brain. It's a soft tissue, and that's one of the significant ways. People might think it's malaria, and one common problem thing, when you go to a pharmacy or you go to a hospital, what do you have? Malaria and typhoid.
So when it's tricky. We have a very skewed healthcare system. So when you have malaria, maybe once, twice, what's the duration before you begin to worry? Perhaps this could be more than malaria. What other things comes with maybe being feverish and all of that? What other light signs should indicate that you should go get a brain or a scan? That's what you call it?
Yeah, there's
MRI.
MRI.
Yeah.
There's another one called CT scan.
Yeah, the
computer
CT scan.
tomography scan. That one also is a way to know. Then, brain tumor is usually diagnosed by a neurologist or a neurosurgeon.
Yeah,
how many of those we have in the country?
The question I was asking is, you mentioned that you'll be treating
Other
for malaria,
symptoms.
So perhaps if you treat, usually my mom says, take malaria drug every 3 months. I know your body more than you. Take whether you're sick or not, but I don't do that, yeah?
Oh, no.
But if somebody gets sick on a regular, like you have malaria, I'm asking, when should you begin to get worried? Is it maybe after you've treated it twice or 3 times in a short period of time? Right. And then maybe there are other symptoms that you should immediately, not even just go to somebody who might know. I mean, just guide us through that process.
So there are two types of this brain tumor. There is one that it's the primary region is the brain. And those are the symptoms you see.
Okay.
Severe headache, which are recurrent. And there's also called, the person can also start vomiting. Okay. When you start vomiting, there's something called raised intracranial pressure. And I'll give you a good example. You have a case or a box, and the brain is inside. And there's a tumor, there's something growing inside the brain. So the pressure in your skull increases. And that was exactly what happened to my colleague. So he started having raised intracranial pressure. And one of the symptoms in raised intracranial pressure is vomiting. So when somebody starts to vomit, having severe headache, recurrent, persistent, also fainting at episodes, the person, he lost consciousness. He had the typical presentation of the brain tumor. So headache, seizures, vomiting, loss of consciousness, fainting, then there could also be
some epileptic
nature.
So the seizure. But can one be predisposed to brain cancer? Because cancer itself, sometimes you have the genes.
Familial reasons, yes. It could be genetic in the genes.
So how do you know that you're genetic?
Now, again, the device or the method of knowing
is not
Nigeria
available.
We need genetic screening. In abroad, in developed countries, you can even screen an unborn child to know if the child has any genetic malformations.
So what is the reality in Nigeria in terms of screening?
It's not there.
The screening is
there was a time I heard that government was subsidizing payments. I don't know whether it's for MRI or something. I'm not sure now. Is there anything like that currently available for people who might not be able to fund it?
Not something which is global, not something which is general for everybody to have access to. Let us even look at something as basic as cesarean section. How much has the government funded or subsidized cesarean section?
So how aware, because the instance you gave earlier about your colleague who got the brain tumor and passed on, how aware are people in your profession to checklist this thing and then advise? Because sometimes we listen to our doctors, they tell us what to do. So if you go to your doctor after a series of how aware are your colleagues about the need for saying, oh, go do this MRI so that we can clear out any possibility that that's the case?
This is a very important question because that colleague of mine, if nobody diagnosed him with an MRI and he passed away, people might have thought that he just had severe malaria or he had other things and he passed away. So regular screening is very important. And luckily it was a neurosurgeon, a resident doctor then that said, you've been having recurrent headache, seizure, vomiting. These are symptoms of a brain tumor. Go and do an MRI. Now, in Nigeria, the cases of brain tumor is about 15,000. So the government, again, when they look at that angle, they look at it that, okay, the people having it are 15,000. It's significant, but if you compare to over 200 million. So that's also another thing. They will prefer to look at things that are general, even the ones that are general. How many is the government?
So you guys need to do your work as well internally to make sure you protect more life. Just to give people hope, because this all sounds scary. You get a brain tumor, you might just die. What is the survival rate?
Yes, very, very important. So the survival rate depends on the type of brain tumor. And there are 3 categories I will give. There's a tumor that a woman can have breast cancer. So the primary cancer is not even the brain, it's the breast. Or a man can have a prostate cancer. And there's something called metastasis or spread.
Which you metastasize and then
so
spread.
This or colon cancer or any part of cancer. So the cancer comes from another part of the body and metastasizes to the brain through the blood or through the lymph node or different parts. So in that case, if you are lucky to treat the underlying cause, which is if it's the breast cancer, unfortunately, maybe to cut down the breast and give her chemotherapy, or if it's a prostate cancer, to treat it, and the cancer hasn't gone too deep into the brain, the chances of survival can be good.
Right.
Another one, sorry, one about the other ones. If it is a malignant cancer, glioblastoma, multiformis, GBM, unfortunately, the chances are low. There's chemotherapy, radiotherapy, but it is malignant. It's aggressive. It's aggressive. Oh,
it's aggressive.
Benign is now you can live normally if it's a benign tumor.
Manage, yeah. But I think key here, I mean, before you ask the question,
brain tumors.
Key
can
here
manage
is
it
early
10 years and above, or even in normal life. So key is early detection. This is one of the things we preach in primary health care. Early detection, anything in life, if you detect it early, you can manage it perfectly.
Yeah, early detection is
and
good to preach
difficult
it,
to
but
detect early.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what I was about to say. Like, it's good to preach it, but it's difficult to detect early because you have to rule out all of the things before I get there.
We cannot be pessimistic. That's the purpose of conversations
unfortunately.
like this.
Somebody has headache, vomiting, seizures, and you tell the person, maybe you have a brain tumor, go and do an MRI.
All right. Let me quickly ask, right, because now that we're talking about it, and some persons might be watching and be thinking maybe lifestyle choices might influence brain tumor, which is weird, right? Because breast cancer, they would also say, always drink healthy, don't smoke, though, exercise, do all of that. Does that also apply to brain tumor? Because the brain is a very tricky...
Yes, lifestyle can affect it. I was doing a research and found out that mosquito bites even can affect brain tumor.
Yeah, sitting down for too long.
Sitting down, well, that
You're not
one
kidding,
is...
are you?
No.
Yeah, when I went, I studied because my colleague passed away with brain tumor. So I had to, and it was like, the actual cause is unknown, but some risk factors, and we're like, a particular mosquito carries a particular virus. Now there's a research that viral infections have been associated with tumor or cancer. A good example for us to understand is HPV, human papilloma virus, which affects women, causing cervical cancer. So women who have, or even another one again is men. It has been related that men who have multiple sexual partners can develop prostate cancer higher.
Preach. I love it. So then what should be your lifestyle choices? Abstinence? Because I've been preaching it, but people don't listen.
Lifestyle choices, number one, I would advise people is just do regular checkup. You have any symptoms, mild headache, seizure, vomiting, you wake up from your bed, you feel strange, go for checkup, which is, again, expensive. To get a card now in some places, thousands of naira.
It's cheaper to be alive and healthy than to be sick. So I know that's the usual ruse to get people to go check themselves, but conversations like this are so important for people to pay attention to your health. You can make all the money in the world, and at the end of the day, you don't have the health to enjoy it, then it's all futile. It's imperative. And that's why our channel continue to push that you take your health care. Very important. I mean, the government will have their role. Like you said, it's not cheap, but please do the basics. Yeah, one question that keeps coming to my mind. What we hear, eat healthy, and then they tell you some things you can eat for your heart health and your brain health. You talk about things like almonds.
There's folic acid and folic acid containing foods. Now, look at the children. If we say lifestyle changes, what lifestyle have the children started? They have not been sexually exposed. Some of them are just toddlers or infants, and they're having brain tumors. We see this case of hydrocephalox. You see a baby with a very big head. So in this case, it's the parents'
there was a kid in my school. Her name was Onyeka. She had that. Her head was so big. I don't know if she's still alive, though. It was in primary school.
That's the CSF fluid when it herniates into the brain. So that makes it big. So that one of the factors or things that have led to it is deficiency of folic acid in pregnancy. So this one, again, lifestyle modification, but also including the parents, the mom and the dad.
So that means maternal care, right? So so it starts with maternal care. It starts with primary health care. I mean, let's move away genetics, right? The best that we can do within our power, right? Because genetics is a different thing. If you're going to check for it, that's expensive. We most likely don't have the equipment, and it might be far and in between. So public health care, maternal care, foliage food, folic acid, also not being exposed to that mosquito. That, unfortunately, it was in Brazil, South America. Yeah, I know. I really
so now I wonder, is that
yeah.
mosquito in Nigeria? Because this
is it here?
young guy got the cancer.
Yeah.
So what really happened? We don't even know.
Yeah, but that mosquito, because I know it was in the global south.
I think I'll take away from this conversation is basically be self-aware.
Right.
Make regular checks. It's not in our culture to, when you're not feeling sick, go to the hospital.
Right.
No. You have to routinely try and check on yourself, your mental health, your brain health, and eat right. You suggested for women of childbearing age to take things like folic acid.
Avoid things that are they call them teratogenic. Some women may take some medications not knowing they are pregnant, which can be teratogenic, which could cause genetic effects or abnormalities to the fetus. And when they give birth, it's
I guess that's a good place for us to leave the conversation this morning.
Yes, indeed. I mean, Doctor, I must say thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. It was such a short call, but as always, you're always reliable. So once again, thank you. Dr. Yusuf Harun, he is the founder of the Love for Health organization. He's given us a bit of insight as we celebrate World Brain Tumour Day. If you feel any of these symptoms, here's a reminder that you should go get tested. If you're vomiting, you have a headache, you have seizures, and you just can't seem to get over that malaria, it's most likely is a brain tumor. I'd not say to go and check. Anyway, many thanks for watching, and that's all we can take for now. When we come back after the break, we are heading straight to Ojude, and I'm going to change to my Ojude Oba.
It's a lie.
Festival.
She's still going to be wearing the dress. She's not changing. She's just going to be looking at what's happening
to surprise
in
them now.
Ojude. We'll be right back.
Okay, what if I now brought it? What if I brought clothes now?
No, you're not changing.
And welcome back. Now, before we head to Ojude, let's bring you the front pages for the Sunday dailies today, this morning. On Breakfast Extra, we get started with the very first one there. It's the Sunday Times as we look at it up there on our screen. Hardship forces mothers, daughters to embrace family planning in Kano State. You can find that story on page 2. Abuja politicians behind Benue killings, Governor Aliyah. You can find that story on page 11 of the Sunday Times. Northern Senators Forum, Wise left legacy of steadfastship and uprightness. You can find that story on page 4. And right next to it, ICPC docks former Court of Appeal staff for job racketeering. That story there is on page 5 of the Sunday Times. Bandits invade southern Kaduna villages in broad daylight, shooting, killing. That story there is on page 8 there now. The insecurity we're seeing, the rise in insecurity is saddening indeed. At the bottom there, tributes trail Mike Ijaga's death at 95. That story there is at page 11. Ozakoma advocates improved funding for the judiciary. You can find that story on page 4. It's pretty much all of the major stories here for this Sunday Times. Let's head next to Sunday Tribune.
We have Sunday Tribune next. The big one here is, let's see, we have a civil war, most difficult moment of my life. That's go on speaking. Mokwa flood incident, unfortunate, ordained by Allah. That's IBB speaking. You might want to read his perspective on it. Sunday Independent, let's see if we have that. Yes, the big one is 2027 opposition leaders favor PDP, LP, ADC coalition. That's according to an investigation. You can see photos on the front page. Ahead, June 12, concerned citizens write off Nigeria's democracy. And then we have at the very top of the paper, just above the masthead, fencing nation's borders not feasible. Nigerian style defense headquarters. That's it just alludes to the conversation around fencing. That will be a Herculean task for anyone who wants to get on with that.
And still on the Sunday Independent there, Zazekuma warns that Nigeria may slide into dictatorship at the bottom there. Ahead of June 12, concerned citizens' right of Nigeria's democracy. Let's head back to the Sunday Tribune, shall we? There was a bit more there that we missed. There we go. Right next to that story there by IBB, that's a former head of state, saying that Mokwa flood incident unfortunate but ordained by Allah, saying that Zulum Shehu or Bornu warn of another flood disaster. Right next to it is hotel goes up in flames in Makkah 72 hours after 484 Nigerian pilgrims left. That is a crosshairs, very close call there, but glad that we don't have to record those deaths. You know, pretty much all of the papers there. At the top there, you can see an invitation from the Federal Minister of Federal Capital Territory there, as well as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and honorable ministers welcoming the President ahead of projects. There's going to be a 17-day commissioning of projects across the FCT from June 10th to July 3rd. 2025. Now, earlier on, we had our head of Abuja Bureau there, the chief of Abuja Bureau, Amadin Uyi, who was saying this. He alluded to this during his submission on the interview, saying that coming up this month, later this month, will be those inaugurations, or rather opening. Move on now to This Day newspaper. At the top there, the world gathers for Ojude Oba. Have they removed the 100 million? They were saying 100 million were expected. Well, the world gathers for Ojude Oba as Glow celebrates 20 years of powering tradition. At the bottom there, permutations on 2027 hit up race for Governor Abdul Razak's seat as NGF chairman. Right next to it is 2027, at the bottom there, 2027 presidential ambition of key promoters, key opposition coalition apart. And that story is on page 6. More invitation there for the inauguration of what? 17-day communication of commissioning of projects from June 10th to July 3rd.
All right, let's look at
good times for the residents of FCT.
Well, I reserve my comments.
Oh, yes.
Sunday Punch, we have Anambra Oshu polls, anxieties in APC as Soludo Adeleke caught Tinubu. You'll see that at the top of the paper. All the papers have that Abuja story. Defection, PDP moves to flush out disloyal members. I wonder how they're going to do that. We also have experts warn as states, LG's bank debts hit 4 trillion naira. Underneath the story on the Anambra Oshu polls, we have president's political moves worrisome, says Osun chieftain. And then Anambra party leaders deny Soludo's endorsement by Tinubu. It's going to be interesting.
Interesting indeed.
In those places.
Well, congratulations to the residents of FCT. You got 17 days of projects, and that means you guys have wide roads and free roads, so there will not be traffic now.
You think so?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so for them. Pretty much all of the papers we can take for the Sunday dailies here on Breakfast Extra. And yeah, that's pretty much where we draw the curtains for this discussion, or rather for this installment of the weekends of your favorite weekend breakfast show. We will definitely continue to bring you live visuals and coverage of the Ojude Oba Festival, as our correspondent Igbalani Omoni is live at the festival there. We're just waiting for the cavalry to begin, but we do know that the demonstrations and homage payments have started with all of the groups that have been paying homage to Awojale of Ijebu. Hopefully I got that correctly. Yeah, I didn't butcher it. I didn't butcher it. Yeah, people should worry me. I want to go to Djibouti. Well, ask me where I was sleep.
You can try next year. The party's almost over.
Yeah, I'm good friends with your
let's live vicariously through Igbalani.
No, I refuse. I refuse to. It's been 3 years. I gotta go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your
thank you. Thank you for being on the show and then covering as always, and always picking up the call every single time. You're quite reliable, I will say. One of the biggest, strongest, hardworking individual here in News Central. She did a show 10 p.m. Friday night. Showed up here 6 a.m. in the morning, following day.
Ah, we're colleagues. We're colleagues.
Yeah,
we look out for each other.
I give you, well done. Rakadede, madam.
Thank you very
well,
much.
pretty much all of us we can take care. Well, join us back again Saturday morning, bright and early, 8 a.m. in the morning.
Mazzino should be back then.
Yeah, Mazzino will be back for certain. So please join us. We're going to be here back as usual, 8 a.m. all the way down to 11. And also join us for tomorrow morning, bright and early, Breakfast Central. We'll be back. You got Joe, you got Olive, you got Benga. The trio will give you the biggest stories and also break it down from you for 7 all the way to 10 a.m. From us is good night, goodbye. We'll see you when we see you. Bye now.